Good morning and welcome back to another episode of my podcast. I call it the announcements because I used to do announcements at school and now I don't have a school because I'm old and retired. And so I have with me today Kelsey Brabo. And Kelsey is a perfect example of how you can have one terrible teacher and still turn out to be an okay human being when you grow up in life. And so I will also say that I'm holding the camera, so it's a little shaky. Okay, so Kelsey, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, my name is Kelsey Brabo. I am from Fordland, Missouri. This guy, he was one of my fifth grade teachers.
One of them? You only had one.
Mrs. Gregory.
She was. Oh yeah, because you switched classes.
Yeah.
But I was her favorite one.
That's right.
Right. Sorry, Miss
No.
Gregory.
Yeah. So I live in Nixon now. I live with my son Henry and my husband Chris. We have two dogs,
Don't forget
Walter
the husband.
and Lily.
The husbands always get left out.
They do. He's there.
Once a kid
hanging
comes
around somewhere.
along, it's like you are nobody anymore.
Oh my gosh, my mom literally has a picture of Henry in her house where she cut me and my husband out of it. We're no longer Chris and Kelsey, we're Henry's parents.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, okay, so yes, you went to Fordland, which I got to go out and take a tour of the school. It's changed a lot since I've been there.
Yeah.
Some things have changed, some things have not. They've added a lot, and so that was really interesting. Actually, the secretary there seemed to know you.
Oh, Angie?
Angie.
Yeah.
Yes, and so we talked a little bit. All right, so tell us a little bit about what you do here. You work at Ozark Technical College. Now, they don't like to be called OTC anymore, right?
Yeah, we are
So
Ozarks Tech.
We're not using those letters
We will
anymore.
forgive an OTC now and then,
Right.
but.
Okay. So what do you do here?
So I'm the assistant director of the Career Center. The Career Center is a high school program for juniors and seniors. They really kind of get the best of both worlds. They get to spend half a day at their high school, the other half of their day they are taking college classes on a college campus, earning college credits with real instructors, taking courses with college students. I think it's absolutely incredible. You know, being from a town like Fordland, just being able to give these kids an opportunity to come into a college setting and see themselves
I saw their bus out there.
in an environment, you know, that's something that's worth working for, and it's really great stuff here. So, yeah.
Awesome sauce. Okay, so we're going to go through my script a little bit, and again, my arm, I'm holding it. I'm getting
we
tired.
can take breaks.
We can trade off.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I might do like this. That helps. Okay, so joke of the day, and this is straight from Kelsey. How do you make an octopus laugh?
Tentacles.
Tentacles. Because octopi have tentacles. Get it? Yeah. Today's weird fact is that it's National Haiku Day, so send all of your friends a haiku poem.
575. Learned that from the fifth graders.
575. 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, 5 syllables last line. I think it's a Japanese poem.
Seems like it.
Yeah, and I don't know. It doesn't rhyme.
It doesn't have to rhyme.
So I don't know how you can call it a poem.
It's all about the syllables.
Anyway, all right. So your Mount Rushmore. So who is on your 4 influential people in your life on your Mount Rushmore? An edu hero, a colleague, a mentor, and a non-educator. Go.
So when I was thinking about this question, I loved it. There's so many different routes you can take with it, but I was really thinking about people who impact my day today. So like the people that I call when I have questions, the people who I kind of think like, what would they do? You know, aside from Dr. Owings, you know. So the people I have on my Mount Rushmore, I have my edu hero is one of my very best friends, Sarah Strom.
Sarah Strom.
Yeah.
We're gonna tag her.
Okay, good.
We're gonna tag her.
To.
So, and maybe she'll do one of these with me too. You know, she's moving up.
Yeah, she's just on her way up.
She's on her way up. She's Branson High School principal next year.
Is.
She's the bomb diggity,
She
as the
really
kids
is.
say these days. I think the kids use that term,
I don't
bomb
think
diggity.
so, but that you can, if you say anything with enough confidence, then...
Bomb diggity. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, edu hero is Sarah Strom. And?
Yes. Then my next gal I have on here is a colleague. Also another very best friend is Annie Zimmerman.
Okay.
So if you don't know Annie, she is the head volleyball coach at Nixa High School. She is a PE teacher out there, and then she is their Care to Learn liaison. So she
has a lot of hats.
She does.
Yeah.
She wears all the hats,
Yeah.
and so just an amazing educator, someone who just, you know, she jumps in all facets of wherever a kid is kind of, you know, in their education.
So we'll have to tag her as well.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Absolutely.
a mentor.
I said Dr. Pam Hedgepath.
Dr. Pam Hedgepath.
Yeah.
She is also the Bomb Diggity, and we'll tag her as well because
I think she's Missouri's mentor.
I have
or
Facebook
really the
friends.
nation's
She
mentor.
is. She is. She's involved in lots of stuff, and I mean, she's someone who retired but didn't retire.
No.
I mean, she's busy.
Probably busier than ever. She's
Yep.
she's truly changing the landscape of what
Yep.
education looks like in our
For
state.
sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pam.
Yeah.
And then your non-educator.
That would be my Grandma Gay.
Okay.
My Grandma Gay.
Now, does she live in Fordland?
She does. She lives in
Okay.
Fordland. Yes.
All right.
So I'm
Props to
the
Fordland.
oldest and favorite of 11 grandchildren.
You know what? I was also the oldest and favorite of grandchildren, and it is a great place to be. It's
Yeah,
a great place to
it
be.
is.
The favorite, yeah. I feel bad for all of my relatives and my sisters and cousins, but
Sorry, guys. We love you too.
You probably feel bad for yours too. So, awesome. Okay. So my normal question is, what's the weirdest thing that's happened to you as a principal? And you did spend some time as a principal in Springfield at the Choice program, right?
Yeah.
And so, what's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you?
So I love telling this story. So one morning had bus duty, and we had kind of this hub at Central High School where we had buses coming from all over the city to take students over to the Academy of Fine and Performing Arts. So that was one of our fifth grade magnet schools. So kids get on the bus, I get a phone call on like my work cell phone. I answer it, it's this mom, and she's like, Mrs. Bravo, I think my son brought his snake in his backpack. His snake is not in the cage. And then she goes, and then she was like, he was talking about bringing it. I told him he couldn't, but it's not in the cage. I don't know where it's at. And so she's like, I'm sure it's on there. So the bus had just driven away. So the snake is on the bus for sure. So I call the bus driver and I'm like, hey, don't say these words out loud, right? Because you can imagine fifth graders. And so I said, just like, remain calm, but maybe keep the kid on the bus.
Yeah, especially if the bus driver has a fear of snakes.
Oh, it was like, can you imagine chaos?
Oh my gosh.
Erupting on.
Well, there's a movie, Snakes on a Plane?
Yes.
Snakes on a Bus.
No, Samuel L. Jackson was a part of this one, but
Well, he probably used some of the language that was going to be said.
Oh man. So yeah, turns out the snake was in the backpack. Mom came and picked up the snake, but just the whole sequence of events of like
Fine and Performing Arts kid.
Yeah.
See, I would have expected Ag Academy.
or wolf. Too.
Or Wolf,
Yeah.
right? But Fine and Performing Arts, a snake wrangler. All right.
This
awesome.
whole sequence of events.
So, did you have to wrangle the snake at all, or
No.
did you just get the backpack and?
No, Mom
Yeah.
came and got it. It was yeah.
So no snake touching for you.
No, snake was contained. It was
All right.
put
All right.
back
Awesome.
in its spot.
That's a good story. You know, it's amazing the things that principals deal with throughout their career. I can tell you some stories. So, all right.
love
So quote of the day. You have two.
Yeah.
And I'm going to save the first one for last because that's
Perfect.
going to lead into what we're going to talk about. So tell me about your second quote there.
Yeah, so this is just a good perspective. I feel like I like to try to keep in something that I, use frequently when talking or coaching with others. But it's, did you have a bad day or did you have a bad 5 minutes? So are those isolated moments becoming, your all day,
Right.
every day?
Right.
So what are you going to do with that time? How are you going to fix it? But
People remember the first things and the last things. And if the last things are bad, and then they had a whole bad day, even though they maybe really didn't.
yeah,
That kind of the way, yeah.
yes,
Awesome.
exactly.
All right, so your second quote is via Ted Lasso, and it is,
Be curious, not judgmental.
be curious, not judgmental, which comes from a Ted Lasso episode where he's playing darts
Yeah.
with the guy, Rupert. He's kind of an a-hole.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy.
Giant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
giant. So he's playing darts with him, and he's pool sharking him.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mhm. Yeah.
he's like, I've been shooting with my left hand, or it's a good show. If you haven't seen Ted Lasso, watch it. I would like to say though that in the Ted Lasso show, he says that he saw this on a wall or something, and it's attributed to Walt Whitman. And Walt Whitman didn't actually say this. This is according to Snopes. I looked it up on Snopes.
What?
Snopes is okay, so if there's anything on the internet and you're like, is this real or not? You go to Snopes, and
Okay.
it'll tell you if it's real or not.
Oh, okay.
I would have taught her that in 5th grade, but they didn't have the internet back then.
No, we didn't.
Right. So it's not Walt Whitman. It actually came about in the 1970s in like an advice column. And so the person who wrote the thing in Snopes said that Walt Whitman gets lots of things that are attributed to him that maybe he didn't actually say. So I don't know if you're ever out and you say something kind of inspiring, just say you heard it from Walt Whitman, because that's what people do. So when we talk about things like curiosity, whatever the topic is, we like to do what is it, kind of define it. What does it look like, when I'm seeing it in action, and then how can I do it? How do I replicate this? So in your mind, curiosity as part of a leadership strategy, what would you say the definition of that is?
I think it's truly just like, I would say it's more of like an essence of just never feeling like what you're doing is enough, which can almost kind of be defeating in some capacity. But when you have the perspective of we work in a field where there's not just one prescribed path. And so being able to think differently, to think creatively, to be innovative, and to explore, just kind of having that drive for more.
Right.
And no matter whether it's new material or you're revisiting something that maybe was just the wrong or the right thing at the wrong time or something along those lines. So I think it's really just that drive of just what can we best do for ourselves, those that we serve, our students, and really just kind of working through that cycle all the time.
And not just jumping to judgment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the second part of the quote. I mean, curiosity, that's kind of the topic, but the second part of that is not being judgmental. Curiosity, this is what I got off the interwebs. It's a vital leadership trait that fuels innovation, fosters collaboration, and promotes adaptability. Leaders who are curious are more likely to seek out new information, understand different perspectives, and inspire their teams to explore new ideas and solutions. And just like you had said, there's not just one prescribed way of doing things, and so different perspectives, it's important to be curious about those and kind of find out where that thinking is coming from.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what does it look like in leadership? My notes are curiosity versus control. And so I think it's important as a leader that you don't try to control every situation. You maybe ask questions, you cultivate ownership. But curiosity cultivates ownership. Control is disempowering. And that came from a blog post by Terry Class. And so, I wanted to attribute to that person.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. I think like what you were talking about is like that active listening. I know that's a huge piece, but something I find myself doing a lot in rooms, I like to be the last person to speak. I like to hear what everyone else is thinking. I want to see if my thinking is in alignment, if it's different. Really kind of fostering those opportunities to ask questions or to dive a little deeper.
Yeah. I like to be the last person to speak also, but then I find I forget what I was going to say. And so that's something that I've had to learn to deal with. Leader curiosity makes employees feel more psychologically safe at work, so you're not judging, you're asking questions, getting their perspectives. Leader curiosity encourages followers to speak up more at work, so when they feel safe, they will speak up more. And that came from Thompson and Klotz. I have another thing down here under how do I do it. So how do you exhibit curiosity as a leader?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing to do is to know that I'm not the expert in everything. That I lead people. I don't just lead content.
Yeah.
And so for example, I have a team full of incredible experts that have, they have specialty in school counseling. They have specialty in special education and scheduling or navigating those tech system. And so I'm not expected to know everything, but what I am expected to do is to learn and to ask questions and to try to, really facilitate and lead those folks and empower them. And so
That's the word I was just thinking of, empowerment.
Yeah, for sure. Like taking, really taking ownership in the areas that my team lead. And so, giving them an opportunity to have a voice, asking them questions, kids truly taking an interest in what their day-to-day looks like, I think that's something that's vital.
She's pretty smart. I mean, her and Walt Whitman, two of the smartest people I've ever heard of. So, I was going to suggest a book. So, have you ever heard of the book Multipliers? It's by a lady named Liz Wiseman. And I read it quite a while back. But it's really great, and it talks about how some people are, they multiply the knowledge in the room, whereas some people are kind of negators. They take away from that. And so when you made that comment, that made me think of that book. So you should check it out.
Yeah.
Multipliers, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You have to try and pull that out of other people.
Yeah.
So how do I do it? How do I be a curious leader? Ask questions, listen actively, reflexive listening, leading by example, and encouraging open dialogue, and embracing failure as a learning opportunity. So failure is it's just part of growth.
Yeah. That's what you do with it.
That's right. Exactly. So I also saw an article by Grace Tripathy, 5 strategies to grow curiosity in leaders. 1, understand the importance of curiosity. 2, identify an area to grow. 3, look for a mentor. 4, practice new discoveries. That's it. She just had 4. The title of the article said 5, but there were only 4 in the article. So
I was looking for the 5th one.
Grace Tripathy, if you happen to watch this, we are waiting for number 5. Send it our way, because we can't move forward until we get it. Yeah, that's right. So curiosity. So excellent topic for today. So at the end of the announcements, I try to send us off with a launch, and it is, you have value, you have impact, what you are doing matters.
Yeah, well said.
Awesome. I got that from Walt Whitman.